What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Let's Play with Tuffy the Great. So today we're taking a look at a game that's been in development for a little bit, and I think we're pretty close to having this game released. It is called Titanic, Honor and Glory. So anybody that knows me knows that I'm an absolute Titanic freak. My grandfather used to get us subscriptions to National Geographic every year for Christmas, and one year in 1984 I got the newest issue, and on the cover was a picture of a wrecked ship and had a little submarine over it, and I started looking at it, and thus began an incredible fascination with the Titanic. I don't know why, I don't know what it is about this ship. It's the story, it's the grandeur, it's all the hopes, it's everything about this ship, but the story just absolutely fascinates me. So right off the bat, we'll take a look at the menu here. So you have a start demo. That starts you off right there at the dock, or you can just skip to the ship. Information just provides information about the demo itself. This is Demo 3. The company, Vintage Digital, has said that this is the last demo before the actual game is released. We'll kind of go into a little bit about what the game's going to be about, and then you get your settings and you're quit. So let's jump in and let's get this done. So here we are, April 1st, 1912 in Belfast, Ireland.
London
Oh,
to
this frickin' guy.
Then a short...
Harlan Wolf
Not a
Time
bad
office
ride,
is there.
excruciatingly long. House right now, and
there's the Arrowhead gantries, where all three of the Olympic class ships were built. Titanic, Olympic, and Britannic were all built there. Coming up here is the, you'll see it here in just a second as soon as he looks back to the left. I don't have any control. These are the design offices. This is where all three ships were designed and blueprinted up. So we basically...
Titanic is likely no different.
So basically the problem that we run into is we get this super annoying voiceover from this Robin guy. I don't know if that's going to be our character within the game. I'm not sure how it works, but there she is, docked in Belfast, Ireland, getting ready for the day of her sea trials. Her sea trials started on the 2nd of April in 1912, before she was cleared and sent down to Southampton, where, of course, the passengers will begin boarding in a little less than 12 days. Or about 8 days they should be boarding. So let's take a look. This is the dock area. Very, very cool. You have the boat train here. This is very similar to the boat train that the passengers arrived at in Southampton. Kind of cool. You can see the moorings. So I've messed around a little bit with this, and let's see if we can, we can go over here. There was a new series of photographs that was discovered that showed Titanic here at dock during her sea trials and right before her sea trials. Super famous photograph moment coming up. There's a super famous photograph just right there. You can see the Titanic in the background. It's got that 105-ton crane made out of Germany right next to it. God, she's got some good lines. Beautiful, beautiful ship there. So we'll go back across. This, of course, is Drydock. What we're standing on here right now, can swing open, and the ship can be put inside of it. And they will put, you can see it's made out of heavy concrete. It's actually sealed. The ship can be put in there, and the water can be drained out via the pump house, which is up there to the right, and the ship can be put into dry dock. So that's kind of neat. Again, you can see the arrowhead gantries up there on the right in front of us there. That's where all 3 of the Olympic-class ships were built. So let's explore the dock just a little bit more. There's really not much going on here. Again, I don't know what the parameters of the game are going to be. I don't know if this highly annoying individual by the name of Robin is going to be our main character. But, oh, notice, these shipyards are dangerous and therefore off limits to all non-employees. If you are here, it is with the express permission of the Harland and Wolff Limited or the officers of Titanic Honor and Glory. All environments are still under construction and will be improved for the final project. Neither Harland and Wolff Management nor the officers of Titanic Honor and Glory are responsible for injury to non-employees resulting from falling to bees, firing rivets, or misuse of tools on these premises. Kind of a little. There's all kinds of actual Easter eggs in here, so it's kind of neato. But anyway, I'm not sure if this character Robin is going to be our main character. But he is, I have to admit, he's ridiculously annoying. He sounds incredibly pompous. He sounds almost sheltered, so maybe we'll have a moment there where, you know, Robin gets a glimpse of the real world. This is obviously somebody who has no idea how the real world works outside of his own little shell of privilege. Ah, so good looking. Look at that. And this really, one of the things about this dock is it kind of gives you the impression of the size of Titanic. She's a very, very cool looking ship. I mean, of course, ships now are much bigger than she is. But at the time, she was absolutely massive. Oh, let's go in here. What do we have? Oh, just a storage closet. Again, these Easter eggs. This Robin guy is actually obsessed with the city of Seattle. We got one of these here. Oh, Irish whiskey. Looks like the workers drinking on the job. And then you have an MP from the Olympic. So in case you're wondering, this John Milligan is a coal company. These are actually coal cars that were used to bring coal onto the ship itself. They filled up these little coal hoppers and then used a locomotive and trained them all in here. You'll see more as we get up next to the ship itself. It kind of creates this sort of maze-like environment that we have to navigate to actually get onto the ship. So when dock workers would check in here at Harland and Wolff at the dockyard, they were given a small wooden like coin. And anytime they used the restroom, anytime they had lunch, the coin was given to a foreman or to a person of like, and they were basically given a notch, and that was how they monitored their pay. Because unlike today where you just clocked in and it was kind of left to that, you know, if a dock worker used the facilities and took too long, they wouldn't be paid for that time. So we're going to try to get up here. We're going to get a little bit closer to the ship here. We're going to take a look at this aft gantry here. Aft gangway. But you can see the absolutely incredible level of detail on the Titanic. Each one of the rivets is accurate. The Titanic wasn't, it was actually steel plates laid over top of one another with rivets used to hold the plates together. But you can see the absolute level of detail that's been given to the ship. So you can go up onto this gangway, this gantry, but you can't get onto the ship via the third class areas, which is the stern. So we can go up and take a look. I do apologize for the choppiness of it. Unfortunately, my computer is not up to the task of this game. I'm just not sure if it's just incredibly power hungry or if the game's just I'm going to need to update my computer soon. So you can see the cranes there. Of course, you can see kind of the cargo area right there. Look at this. Look at the detail that's in this game. You see this platform here? That's where the crewman would stand and man the crane. It's actually really neat. They've done just an absolutely amazing job with the level of details in this game. They have fully rendered the ship, and they have done an amazing job at it. You'll see even more of that detail. We're going to take a tour of Boiler Room 6, and we'll show some more of those details and just how intricate they got in this game. It was a challenge, I'm sure. There are certain areas of the ship that are just not photographed very often. So I'm sure finding everything that they needed. Boy, they left this dock is a mess. So I'm sure that finding everything they needed, I think most of it was done through blueprints. And not actual photographs. Of course, you do have the Father Brown photographs. Very famous set of photographs showing the beginnings of life on ship. And then there's actually, like I said, there's another set of photographs that was recently found that gives us an idea of what she was like at dock. So some very, very important things. And so that is our ultimate goal right there. That is the D-deck reception area for first class all the way forward. So we are going to try to get over there. They've created this like little maze that you have to go through. I mean, it's kind of annoying. With all these wooden structures, and there's another gantry that they probably used to get on and off the ship before they opened up D-deck. Just incredible, the detail in this game. It's going to be absolutely amazing. There are going to be NPCs wandering the ship. There are going to be people on board that you will interact with. And here we go. A little pile of coal right there. D-deck reception area. You can see both sets of doors. Alright, so let's go. Is this wall of black? Ship's whistle. Stop, mind your head. Notice any workman leaving the ship except by proper gangway will be instantly dismissed. So for some of us that are big Titanic fans, you can see kind of the plates laid over one on top of each other there. It's kind of cool. Look at that. God, the details. Alright, this is about as close as you're ever going to get to really stepping on the Titanic, so let's go. There's only a few areas of the ship available to us within this demo. Kind of some instructions for the demo. You see these little information wheels here. They'll be all over. But this is the D-deck reception area. Passengers would check in here. Oh, looks like the electronics aren't quite up to snuff yet. They better get that on moving because we've only got one day until sea trials. So, in Queenstown, Ireland, this is where the passengers boarded. The first class passengers, actually we can just read this little information. Through these doors, passengers from the tender at Cherbourg and Queenstown would board the Titanic. Others would disembark at these locations. First class Cherbourg tender Nomadic is the last remaining ship built for the White Star Line and is currently preserved in Belfast, Northern Ireland. There's actually a museum in Belfast called the Titanic Museum. It's got a very, very nice looking building. And the Nomadic is right across from the museum, and it's part of the museum. So, yeah. So you can kind of look down there. You can see this is a companionway for the crew. And then, of course, here we have the lifts. The lifts provided access to A, B, C, and D, and E deck. They went down to E deck, which is one deck below us. We're going to actually go up. This here is the first class reception area, as well as the dining reception area, where people would come and congregate and socialize and just sit and read their papers and wait for the dining to be served. So we're going to go and we're going to step up here to the first class dining area. Again, look at the detail. They've actually hired somebody that their entire job has been to do nothing but add detail to the ship. Remember, all this was handmade. It was all handcrafted. You could actually, can't see it in the game because it's too small, but they would often use a little wooden stamp and they would mark their work. So this is the first class dining area. Again, I am sorry for the choppiness. This was all included with your first class ticket. Everybody was assigned a table. Some of the more prestigious passengers got to sit with the captain, which was the most coveted table. You can actually, let me see if we can get over to it. The table for the captain's table is over here. You can see that some of the place settings are set. These are for the people and inspectors that were assigned to the Titanic during the sea trials. Let's see if we can get over here and take a look at it. Like I said, not all areas. Tell me we can't go this way. No, we may not be able to. I'm just going to have to show you guys from a distance. See, they have each one of these as a chair pushed out to where we can't get to it. But that big table in the middle right there, that is the captain's table. That is where Captain Smith sat. John Jacob Astor, Molly Brown, they were all guests at the captain's table. Again, you had to be invited to sit at the captain's table. Otherwise, people just, the plebes, if you will, had to just sit at their regular tables. See, yeah, this table's got a big pillar going through it. Again, these tables are actually dressed for the people who are going to be on the Titanic during sea trials. When the iceberg hit, the first class dining area was actually being set for breakfast when the iceberg first hit the Titanic. They were working well into the night to ensure a nice smooth breakfast service that Monday morning. Of course, unfortunately, Titanic never made it. More of the deck reception area. You see the piano over here. This was a one-of-a-kind piano. Again, as you can see, the little info tab, it says that there were 6 of them on board. Looks like the work crew is still working. Looks like they've left it just a little bit of a mess. Tools laying everywhere. So this would have been about right. People would have started boarding. The inspectors would have started boarding on the first. We'll actually, and we're going to go take a look at Thomas Andrews' cabin here in a little bit, as well as Father Brown. Again, Father Brown is responsible for some of the more iconic photographs of the Titanic. He got off in Queenstown, Ireland. Yep, clipboard. Little photograph. Again, they have all these little Easter eggs. And like I said, if you don't have this guy's voice shut off, he randomly babbles. And it's actually stupendously annoying. He's a pretty annoying character. Alright, so we're going to go all the way up to B deck. Unfortunately, this is the forward grand staircase. And unfortunately, we cannot go up to A deck. Of course, the A deck is where the iconic, let me see if we can get kind of a glimpse of it here. Yeah, you can kind of see it there, the cherub with the clock above us. There at A deck. We can't go up onto A deck just yet. Yep, please contribute. So this demo is completely free. You can go on to Titanic Honor and Glory and you can download the demo right this very second if you want to give it a shot for yourself. Totally free, doesn't cost anything, but you know, if you want to play this game, please contribute to the game. I have contributed to it because it is a game that I'm very interested in. And so I want to see it completed. They've said we're about 6 months away from completion, so that is a good thing. So this is the boarding entrance for B deck. Can't really go in there. You can kind of peek the veranda up there. All right, so we're gonna go. These are the Amidships first class cabins, and the game actually goes through and tells you who was where. So this is where the Cardezas were. This was actually one of the promenades, like you saw in the movie with the private promenade. We're not going to go through and we're not going to see every single passenger's room, just because that would just take us too long. We'll stop and take a look at some of the more prominent passengers that you may or may not recognize, whether you have watched the movie or whether you have watched or you're just a Titanic fan. So this, of course, is the starboard side of the amidships rooms amidships. There were more rooms to the rear and there were more rooms forward. All right, so this right here is known as the Café Parisien, and it was designed with the fake ivy. This is all fake, none of that was real. It was designed to recreate the feel of a French sidewalk cafe, which some people said was done very, very, very well. Oh, more Easter eggs. Looks like some workers were drinking on the job and looking at pictures. Yeah, of course, that is one of the designers of Titanic Honor and Glory. And then there's the B-deck promenade that way. So we are going to go into this next room. This is what's known as the a la carte restaurant. Unlike the first class dining area, the price of the a la carte restaurant was not included with your first class ticket. You had to get reservations and you had to pay to dine in the a la carte restaurant. It was privately owned. It was privately run. So, yep, pantry and galley. Yes. So this is actually a very nice restaurant. It's very, very, very pretty. What are we running into here? Come on. So again, you had to pay to dine in this restaurant. You couldn't, it wasn't included with the price of a ticket. So we'll go ahead and exit a la carte now. Yeah, just when you thought those snobby first class passengers got everything, right? Here's the cashier. This is the cashier's office. This is where you would pay for your meal. Of course, this is the menu for today. For today in the a la carte restaurant. Then you have a coat and hat area. So we're going to go up one deck. This is the aft grand staircase here. This is kind of cool. Let me see if I can... we can go down to E deck. So this is the restaurant reception. This is where people would sit and be entertained over here by the three-string quartet, or the three-string band. So we're going to go up a deck. We're going to go up to A deck here, because there's a couple of things that are here. This is actually Father Francis Brown's room. Again, the gentleman responsible for some of the wonderful pictures of Titanic. You can see his little camera there. Of course, we can't see ourselves in the mirror just yet, but this was sort of the lower end of first class accommodations. You got the bunk bed here, you got the single bed here. This bunk bed could actually be rotated up to get out of the way, but of course Father Brown only stayed here, and he did disembark in Queenstown. So this is, everybody thinks of the cabins where they're big and spacious and opulent. This is not a bad cabin. It's very comfortable, very well appointed, but ships are all about space utilization. So this was one of the cabins here. And then across from Father Brown, This, of course, the A-deck promenade here. You can't go out onto it just yet. I can't wait to go out there when the ship is underway. This is the, get this sign out of the way, this is the first class smoking room. This is where the gentlemen of first class would come and smoke their cigars and drink their brandy and maybe play some cards and gamble. Women were not allowed in there. Yeah, that's right, feminists. Chew on that one. I think you have it rough now. Imagine not being allowed onto spaces on a ship that you paid money for a ticket for, like Molly Brown, who was not accompanied by a gentleman, and she wasn't allowed in there. So this next room we're going to take a look at, this is only a couple of the rooms that you can look at. This is the room of ship designer Thomas Andrews. You'd think he would have a big, luxurious room because he's an officer of the White Star Line. Nope. He took this very, very modest room here. You can see his blueprints are scattered all over. Garbage. Thomas Andrews was known to be very, very unorganized. And his blueprints really were the most important thing in his life. So if we come further back here, we're going to kind of run a little bit. So these are to the promenades. These are this way to the lounge. It says in here the passengers should gather, play refreshments, play board games, and socialize in a room resembling a great palace in France. Of course, again, we can't go in there just yet. More to the promenade, deck chairs for passengers to relax on, and you can see that 105-ton crane. So that is it for A deck here. The beautiful dome adorning the top of the deck. It was artificially lit to simulate a beautiful day outside even during the night. And of course then you had this sort of meh clock when compared to the forward grand staircase clock. So we've seen the Parisian, we've seen the a la carte. We are going to go down to C deck. And there are more rooms down there, but there is also the first class purser's office all the way forward. Ship's barbershop was here. Some more rooms here. Yes, they had, I don't know if I would want to stay here. I mean, if I was going to pay the kind of money that people had to pay for these tickets, I don't know if I'd want to have my room out, right next to a commons area like this. And then if you look up, here's what it tells you. You have a wonderful view of that dome. All right, so you can go just a little bit forward here. There are more rooms over here forward. Of course, as you go further aft, you start getting into the third class areas and things like that, and we don't want our illustrious first class passengers to be bothered with icky third class people. This of course leads to the crew areas and the second class promenade. Alright, so this was the chief steward's room. Some of the main crew. Restaurant manager Luigi Gatti managed the a la carte restaurant. This was, the ship did have a hospital on it, very, very small of course. This is where the assistant surgeon, and the hospital is actually through this door. You can see right here is the ship surgery, and the main doctor, Dr. Willis O'Loughlin, was here. Yay, walking. Now there is a room that I would like to show you guys. I can't remember. It's down here. I think it is, because we can only go with the aft grand staircase. We can only go. So this is the Countess of Roths. In the book A Night to Remember by Walter Lord, it starts with the Countess of Roths stepping outside of her room, grabbing a steward and saying, "What happened? I felt the ship shudder." And the steward replied, "We've likely thrown a propeller, ma'am. Is there anything I can get you?" Very, very famous line. A lot of the crew, confident in Titanic's invincibility, did not realize the kind of trouble the ship was in. So, For those of you who may remember, in the game 1996 by Cyberflix called Titanic, Adventure Out of Time, this C-73 was your cabin. It was a puzzle-solving game. It was kind of cool. Kind of a neat game. You could explore the entirety of the ship. You had to solve different puzzles and things along the way. And can we go this way? Yep. So you have a steward's closet here. You have towels and what looks to be more whiskey. Boy, these guys are really laying it on, aren't they? These workers. Oh, what's this? Can we look inside? Yep. So you can kind of look inside there. Again, not as K&M. I have to look into that. Not as luxuriously appointed as you would think. Actually, the further down you go into a ship, the less luxurious, I guess you could say, the rooms become. So this is cabin C-57. This is where Ida and Isidore Strauss, they were the owners and co-owner of Macy's department store. A wonderful tale where Mrs. Strauss, they were standing on the boat deck waiting for a boat. And Mrs. Strauss was offered a space in the boat. And she looked at her husband and said, "As we have lived together, I have not left your side, so we shall die together." At that point, the officer manning the lifeboat offered Mr. Strauss a seat in the boat, to which he put his hand up and said, "I will go before no other man." Big mistake there. People, when the order was given, women and children first, what they actually meant was women and children in the immediate area, and then men were given seats on the boats. Officers who were very by the book, such as Second Officer Lightoller, took that to mean women and children only, which is a completely different order. But anyway, so Ida and Isidore were last seen lounging on a deck chair in the ever increasingly tilting ship before disappearing somewhere below decks, where they both died together. Wonderful story. This was the sitting room of the Strausses. They had one of the bigger cabins on B deck. Here is the first class. They call it the inquiry office. Here, passengers could purchase wireless telegrams. They could have their valuables stored. They could purchase tickets for the Turkish bath, which we will go down to E deck, F deck, and we will take a look at here in just a second. They were able to store their valuables in the purser's office. As the ship sank, when people realized that the liner was in fact doomed, first-class passengers began mobbing the inquiry office. They began mobbing the pursers, trying to get their valuables off the ship when they realized that all was lost. And here, of course, is the purser's office inside itself. This is where the ship's safe was. And then if we come up, poop! Oh, there is the purser from Titanic, Adventure Out of Time. A little Easter egg there. It's kind of fun. He kind of jumps out there. So, of course, please remember, folks, we are on C deck. We are going to go down to F deck, and we are going to start working our way up a little bit. So here is D deck again with the reception area. We're going to actually go down two more flights. The grand staircase itself only went down to E deck, and even down here, despite the wonderful, beautiful woodwork, not so grand. So this clock will be set back at midnight in 49 minutes. So this is the E deck. This is something that was known as Scotland Road. And we will go take a look at Scotland Road here in just a second. So now we're going to head on down to F deck here. Unfortunately, with F deck, we can't go much farther. Again, all of this will be available to us when the game itself launches. These are the stewards and the bath attendants, because we are going to step in here. This is where the Turkish bath was. This was called the cooling room. After taking a dip in the Turkish bath, the patients or the passengers could come here and they could lounge and they could cool off. Here there's a locker, and here you have changing rooms where they could change into their stuff, the sandwich, and of course, please contribute to us at www.titanichg.com. So if this is something you're interested in, if this looks like a really cool game, please go and contribute to the game. I won't ever call for you guys to contribute, but this is one of those games that I think should be brought along. So there is the Plunge Bath, or basically as we would call it, a swimming pool. But it was called a Plunge Bath. People would go in there, they would sit, they would soak, and then they could come in here. This is the electric bath. You can see I don't know why it's doing that. Beyond this curtain here, there is a door on the other side that you use to get to there is actually somebody in there using it, believe it or not. It's one of the only NPCs you will see on the game, on the demo. And it is rumored that is going to be Ismay. Alright, so this was a scale. Believe it or not, people would come after sitting in the Turkish bath or using the electric bath, which was basically just a steam bath. They would come sit in this chair to see if they had, use my quotation figure, sweat off any weight. So we're going to head back up to E-Deck, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to explore Scotland Road. Scotland Road, of course, is named after a street in the city of Belfast. You could see almost the entire length of the ship looking down Scotland Road. So you remember, this is the forward grand staircase. It actually faces aft. So we are going to run forward here just a little bit. Believe it or not, there is stuff. So this is the quarters. This is what the crew slept in. Of course, the higher up you were as a crew member, if you were a chief stewardess or something like that, as a chief steward, you would get your own room. But ultimately, this is what the lower level crews, the cooks, stewards, stewardesses, they all slept in these dormitory style rooms. So this is boiler room 6, the most forward of the boiler rooms. This was the one that was actually flooded in the 3 holds, the 4 peak, and boiler room 6. This is part of the path of the iceberg as she struck. So that's why boiler room 6 is kind of important. This is about as far down as we can go, but you can see these boilers, sort of. Don't know where everybody is. But these were the brand new boilers, and of course all the steam would be funneled up here through pipes where it would be used in the engine room to turn the giant turbines. We're actually going to go back up. You see all these steam pipes here. And we can actually go up higher. We'll go up just a little bit, and boy, it really kind of shoots you up there. So there's one of the ventilations, but you can see the funnel. So that is the number 1 funnel. And you can see all the piping and everything as it comes down. And you can see how it's all sort of connected to the boiler room. It's kind of neat. Again, with like I said, the level of detail in the ship. You know, by sticking with blueprints, not just making stuff up as it goes. And of course, this is as far forward as we can go. You start getting into these second class areas. Sorry, I just heard that noise. That was kind of weird. Of course, that would take you up to the D-deck area. The cargo hatch there, where the cranes could raise and lower the cargo. The racquetball court is around here somewhere. That's what that sound is. I think the racquetball court is down there. Somebody's playing racquetball. So we're going to head aft through Scotland Road, past boiler room 6. We're going to continue with our little tour, boiler room 5. Of course, here you have the bath areas, the crew's laboratory, as they called it, boiler room 4. 3. We're going to go down those stairs there in just a second. So we are now entering into the 3rd class area of the ship. You know, it may not look like much to us, but to these people this was luxury incarnate. They had never seen anything like it. They had never been held in such fine accommodations. So we go down these stairs and we enter into the third class dining area. You can see just how low we are in the ship. You can see those are those red coal cars. White tablecloths, fine silverware, fresh fruit. They were living in the lap of luxury. They had never seen anything like it. Ooh, watertight door. You can see there the watertight doors and the gear system that did in fact close it. So they went very carefully to make sure that they had all of these, but realistically all that did was box up the water. It didn't really do anything to stop it, because you have to remember right now we are back on F deck and the water just came up the stairs. The stairs were not sealed off at all. Another watertight door here. We step through and we go into the port side dining area for the third class passengers. Very, very nice. Pictures of the Titanic and White Star Line all over the place. Let's see what this little information bubble says. Ooh, third class pantry and galley. Yep, so they would open these up here and you could get your food like a buffet style, whatever was on the menu that night. And you could step over here, find your seat, and eat some of the finest food ever. Atlantic Transport Line, White Star Line. See anything here? No. Newspaper, ship's paper. There was a printing office on board that printed out a paper. Anybody confused yet? Anybody know where we are? Are we port? Are we starboard? What's going on? Oh no! Welcome to what it would have been like. Add in 2,200 screaming, panicky passengers, and welcome to the sinking Titanic. So that is what is going to make this game so great. Alright, so we're going to head back to E-Deck. And I think that that's just about going to wrap up our tour of the Titanic. Right now, those are the only areas that you can really get into. You can't really get into anywhere else. Kind of a bummer, but that's just kind of the way the game works. But you can see just how incredible this is. We're going to end where we started off in the D-Deck reception area. And I think that's going to do it for us today, guys. So go ahead and head over to TitanicHG.com. Download the demo for yourself. Give it a play. What's this say? French tapestry woven by Ambusen for the White Star Line based on the Chasse d'Aiguille series. Okie dokie then. Go ahead and head over to TitanicHG.com. Go ahead and download the game for yourself. Download the demo. Of course, if you donate, I think it's a minimum of like $30. You do get a digital copy of the game. But as I donated $50, my name will actually be on a cabin placard within the game. So you will see my name. I will see my name. Figure out which cabin I'm in. And that's it for today, guys. So go ahead, if you liked what you saw, show the channel some love, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs down, leave me a comment in the comment section, let me know what you thought. All right, everybody, I will talk to you guys later.